Welcome back to Finding My Faith Again with Tariro Tagar. I am your host, Tariro Tagar, and I'm so thrilled to be here with you for yet another episode right here, wherever you're tuning in from. I was going through a couple of things that, we wanted to give away, my family and I came across a box that my mom had with old books and stuff that she was preparing to give away. And I decided to look into this box, and I came across a book that I read back in high school. And I loved that book. I enjoyed it so much. And I found it such a compelling read and very educational and also inspiring. It's a book that really gets you to not only just get a glimpse into the life of somebody else who's walking on a faith journey, but it also gets you as an individual to look into your own faith journey and look at your own way of thinking and being and relating to others and yourself. The book that I'm talking about is called The Glorious Death of a Salesman, Killing the Need for Approval. And it is by Drew Land. If you haven't read this book or heard about this book, I highly recommend it. You would love it. I know for sure you'll love it. And I started reading it again. And I thought I want to share something with you today. Something that should be at the center of our relationship with God as we navigate ourselves in our faith journey and understanding our place next to God and who God is in our lives. And this little section, it's called God's Love is Unconditional. And I believe that this is a word that we all need to hear, because I myself have had to constantly remind myself that God's love is unconditional. And as I was reading these few pages, this little chapter, I thought, what would be great for me to get on here and share it with you as well. So, hope you're ready, because it's going to be really good. It's going to be real, real good. You're going to love it. God's love is unconditional. Why would they hire me? I thought, staring at the job application form in front of me. It was a fair enough question after all. What had I ever done that would qualify me to work for a media production company? I was only 19. Well, I had watched a lot of movies. I had held a personal video camera with my own hands a few times. I had even repaired my parents' video recorder once. But somehow, none of those things seemed appropriate to mention. I had nothing of real value to offer the company, except a willingness to learn. It wasn't enough. At least, that's what they decided. Imagine if God required us to fill out an application form. What would we include? An inspiring Christian resume, complete with mission trips to unreached people groups? Nope, wouldn't impress God. He knows someone else who crossed over from heaven to earth. A near-perfect record with only a few blemishes in the privacy of our own thoughts? Nope, wouldn't cut it. He knows someone who never sinned in body or mind. A string of stirring acts of kindness done to complete strangers? Nope, still not enough. He knows someone who gave his entire life for his enemies. No matter how many qualifications we might include in an application form, there would always be a better candidate for the position: his own son. We could never be good enough to earn God's love. So instead, Jesus earned it all for us. God didn't wait for you and me to be perfect. Instead, He was perfect in our place and offered us His love based on His goodness, not ours. He didn't wait for us to please Him. He loved us just as we are. No prerequisites, no conditions. God's love wasn't earned. He loved us first before we did anything. You earned your paycheck this month. You earned your degree. You may have earned some brownie points for doing the dishes. You did the hard work and got rewarded. But you never earned God's love. You got it before you ever lifted a finger. If you had earned it, then you might have reason to fear losing His love. You might have grounds to wonder if it's really that special after all, seeing as how it's for sale. You might have cause to question how much love your deeds earned you. Were you good enough to get all of God's love, or just good enough to earn some of it? The quickest way to become an addict of other people's approval is to think that you don't have all of God's love. People who believe that God's love is conditional, or that God's love can be earned or lost, will never know their true self-worth, because they don't know just how much they are truly loved and how that will never change. God put His love on the line for us by offering His Son in sacrificial death while we were of no use whatsoever to Him. And if that's the way His love started, that's the way it continues. Jesus secured you a permanent position. No application required. You just need to accept the offer. So tying that all together, that was a little chapter called God's Love is Unconditional from the book by Drew Land, The Glorious Death of a Salesman, Killing the Need for Approval. I'm sure just listening to that really brought something within you, as it did for me. And as I was reading this, and every time I read this, it reminds me that, while we live in a world where we constantly have to prove ourselves to people, we constantly have to prove our worth and our capability and show what we can do and our deservingness for the things that we want and desire. It is such a breath of fresh air to know that with God, we don't need to do any of that. We are just, we just loved as it is naturally. We don't need to perform for God. We don't need to prove our worth. We don't need to prove that we are worthy, because God sees us. God has been seeing us. God sees you for who you are, for the perfect being that He created you to be. And I know that at times that, even for myself, I find myself wanting to do something to prove to God why I deserve His blessings. There's always this idea in my mind of earning my keep. And I don't know if you can relate, right? Wanting to earn your keep. And that way of being and way of thinking makes it so hard to receive things, makes it so difficult to accept gifts, because then I'm like, no, but I didn't do anything for this. I didn't do anything to deserve that, to earn that, right? Completely ignoring the fact that just because I am, just because I'm here, just because God made me, makes me deserving of the good that wants to flow into my life. And the same is for you as well. This chapter is a clear reminder that we don't need to do anything to earn God's love. We don't need to do anything to earn God's approval. for simply being. And that makes me wonder if you begin to live your life from this understanding that you are free to be yourself. You are free to be who you are, who you feel you were created to be in this world. Knowing that whatever it is you do, it's not going to change how God sees you. It's not going to change how loved you are by God. It's not going to change the fact that God will love you unconditionally no matter what. And He's always there for you. I can't help but wonder what are the things that you will do for yourself and for others. What type of person will you be? Will you walk as on this earth? How will you show up for yourself? How will you show up for others? Knowing that you can just be. You don't need to do something to change how God sees you, because how God sees you will never change. You can be exactly who you want to be. And I know that it takes a lot to process. I myself am still processing. But it's a start. It's a beginning point to begin to shift how you see yourself. And it takes the pressure off of you. The pressure for constant stress and anxiety over being seen by other people and how you are seen and how you are perceived. Trust me, I know it's a struggle. But knowing that whatever it is that I do, whoever it is I am at any given point in time, it does not change how God feels about me. It does not change how God sees me. We can walk in this planet, on this earth, performing for different things, performing to prove ourselves, to be seen, to be noticed, to be heard. But that's not what matters at the end of the day. We were not created to live life that way. God has shown us how we're supposed to live life, how we're supposed to build our relationships around, and that is unconditional love. Pure acceptance of one another, of ourselves. Accepting yourself fully for who you are, with your faults and all. That is the beginning of true transformation. That is the beginning of truly living your life in absolute freedom. Knowing that you are unconditionally loved. And I don't know about you, but I want to strive for that unconditional love. And I want to live my life as a free being, knowing that the one opinion that truly matters, the one true love that I can rely on comes from God, and that is an unconditional love where it doesn't matter what I do. God sees me. God sees my heart. God sees you. He sees your heart. He sees what's really deep within your being, what makes you you. And as long as you are pure, you're good. I don't know what else to say. You're good. Because God is good. It says here, God is perfect. And His love is based on His goodness, not ours. So even in moments where you find yourself being bad or you feel bad and you're surrounded by bad, just know that God exists in goodness, His goodness, and not our own. So that is my reminder for you today. I definitely will be sharing with you another chapter from this very same book in our next episode. So hope to see you then, and just reflect on today's reading, today's topic, and apply that to yourself. and try that on for size. Would love to hear from you. Would love to hear how you have perceived today's topic and how that applies into your own life and how you see yourself and see others. Okay? So, thank you so much for tuning in. I am so thrilled to have spent this time with you, and have a lovely day. Spread that love around, okay? Bye.